Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, talking cars. How are you doing this morning, Bernie?
I'm doing very well this morning.
So we're going to talk about the Nissan Altima. It's been around for a couple decades. How are these cars for reliability?
These cars are fair. They are very popular. They've been around, as mentioned, since actually 1992 is when they started. Um, most of the models that we see are somewhere in the early 2000s. Getting newer, and the early models were okay, and just so you're good, sort of good, basic, reliable car, four-cylinder engine. Um, Once they got into the early 2000s, they started kind of jazzing things up a bit. They introduced a 2.5-liter engine, which was mostly reliable, and also offered a 3.5-liter V6, which was kind of pretty cool in a smaller car. Lots of power, peppy. So it was a nice option. Same engine you'd find in a Maxima. So it was kind of a nice blend between the large car and the in a slightly smaller body.
So the 2.5 liters were mostly reliable. Can you talk maybe a bit more about that?
Yeah, so mostly reliable. I mean, I guess when I think of an engine being fully reliable, you'd really have not much wrong with it other than you change the spark plugs when they're due or the timing belt if it needs to be done. But otherwise, it's nothing much else would happen. Maybe the odd little oil leak, but the 2.5s suffered a few problems. Engine misfires on some of them would develop, and that was because the head gasket would leak coolant into the combustion chambers. So that's a pretty expensive repair. It's a timing chain driven engine, so it makes a head removal quite a job. So that was one issue. The other sort of mid 2000 2.5s developed a lot of oil consumption issues. For some reason, a lot of complaints around the 2005 model year. So and complete engine failures that need to be rebuilt. So that's something you got to watch if you're buying an older one, that they might be oil consumption might be an issue. Again, I don't know how much of that is attributed to bad vehicle maintenance. There's certain engines that you can abuse and others you can't. And and generally there's a lot of the population that don't do their service on time. So anyways, to make a long story short, there are some issues with the 2005s for oil consumption.
Any other issues with these engines?
No, they're actually pretty good otherwise. Yeah, I mean, other than that, well, yes, no, actually, come to think of it, there's a reason I put that question. Camshaft and crankshaft position sensors fail on these 2.5-liter engines a lot, and we usually when we get one of these vehicles towed to our shop and the customer can't start the vehicle, it's cranking over, but the engine won't start. It's usually a failure of a cam or crank sensor. It's extremely common issue. So if you own one of these vehicles and it suddenly won't start for you, that's probably what's going on. Not 100% guarantee, but usually what's going on. You can almost guarantee with these engines that at some point you're going to have something. So that was the other thing that was there.
Do Altimas use timing belts?
No, they don't. Actually, none of the engines use a timing belt. They're all chain driven. So that's one thing you do not have to worry about with an Altima. And actually, reflecting on Nissan overall over the the decades, Nissan's really they've used timing belts on a few engines, but for the most part, they've really been a timing chain. Almost all their engines have been timing chains. So when things go wrong, it does cost a lot more to fix, but generally chains are much more reliable. The key again, change your oil regularly.
Any issues with other areas of the car?
Well, there's a few complaints in other areas. I was saying these, like in these earlier 2000 early to mid 2000s, pretty much the engines are kind of the things we see issues with. But some of the newer models around 2009, there's issues with the steering lock jamming up and causing problems. So and the vehicle not starting. So that's a pretty major issue. And the other really large complaint that I came across, not something we've seen or fixed because these cars are still fairly new, is the 2013 models. There's a lot of transmission problems. These use the CVT variable transmission, and there's a lot of issues. Nissan's had a lot of issues with the CVT transmissions in a variety of different models. They've been a big adopter of them, but they've had problems with them, and they usually back them up with extended warranties, but that's definitely an issue with those vehicles. So other than that, pretty good car overall.
Any final thoughts on the Nissan Altima?
No, I mean, definitely a very worthwhile car to look at. Again, with any used car, if you're looking to buy it, do your research, look at what the problems are in particular model years, and get an inspection done. It's critical. And if you own one, just take care of it. Change the oil, change the fluids when recommended.
So there you go. If you have one of these vehicles and you'd like it maintained properly, the guys to see in Vancouver are Pawlik Automotive. You can reach them at 604-327-7112 or check out their website at pawlikautomotive.com. We have years worth of videos on there, tons of information. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.